coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity.
Well, please get ready for
comedy?
work. It's
you want
Monday.
stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Bang, bang, bang. Ba, 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 ba. Bang. I don't know. Maybe we'll call it a show. Get the whole thing. Oh, good morning, America and Canada and North America and people of Earth, but particularly mostly Canada. It is Monday. What the hell day is it? March 11th, 2024. Looking forward to a pretty decent show here today. In the second hour, we will have Jeffrey Weissman, who is George McFly in Back to the Future 2 and 3, not 1. That was Crispin Glover. And I've had Jeffrey on the program before. We kind of have talked about that, but you know what? We might rehash it just a little bit for people who don't know the story about how he got into that. He was in Clint Eastwood's Pale Rider before Back to the Future stuff. And that's an interesting thing because he's only a year older than me. And, just how you hook up with a guy like Clint Eastwood for your first real big movie role is something of interest. I don't think we even touched on that, but I do want to talk about some of the Groucho Marx stuff he does with him too, because, I've had my interest in Groucho has been rekindled due to some of the recent guests on this program and the potential future guests on this program. Now, bear in mind that Groucho Marx's popularity was 100 years ago. I understand that. And most of my audience is not even a quarter of that. Well, a quarter of that or a third of that, really, according to the analytics numbers we're getting, which is surprising. I would have thought it might have been much older than that, like 55 to 65 or something. But we got a lot of young people listening and watching this program, which is really yay for us. I went to see Stam Talent twice this weekend, and actually 3 times if you count going to Govs on Friday morning. I have to say, Sam is he has arrived. He is probably, you can't say the best. You can't say the best because there are so many good comedians out there, but he is as good as anybody doing it right now on the club level. I don't know that what he does necessarily translates well to theaters. What's going on, LinkedIn? LinkedIn is messing with us. Come on, LinkedIn, don't mess with me. Let's see if we remove and re-add. LinkedIn's been having problems lately. Anyway, we'll go on without LinkedIn. You know what? Screw LinkedIn. We don't need LinkedIn, do we? Not really. They can find us. There's a YouTube link over there. They'll find us. If they want us, they'll find us. But Sam, really, I mean, He's as good as anybody doing it at the club level right now. Really, really tremendous. And here's the thing that sets him apart, I think, from anybody else doing it. As far as I can tell, every night is fresh with him. He's not relying, and he's not doing like what feels like normal crowd work. Although he includes the crowd in his comedy. It's not like, "Hey, where you from? You two married? How long you been married? What do you do for a living?" None of that crap. The audience sometimes will yell out at him, and that's when he can really be quicker than, you know, any of these talk show hosts who are known for their quickness. Going back to Johnny Carson, Conan O'Brien, and Letterman were really good at that. Just being able to snap back really quick with something really funny. He's great at that. But it just his overall approach to how he delivers comedy. He's not relying on set material that, for the most part, that he's done over and over and over again. It's just almost every night feels fresh. And by contrast, the opener that he brought with him, um, I saw him last year in Brooklyn, and he did the exact same act verbatim, a year later. And he's like, so what does an opener get? Like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever they get, um, to do the exact same act a year later and not add anything new. And I'm not putting him down for that. I'm just saying that's what most people do. Sam I saw him Friday and Saturday, and both nights were very different. A lot of it was regional humor, like picking up on his experience of being on Long Island or in Long Island for uh, 36 hours before the show and getting a taste of the flavor of the local lifestyle. The other part about that is he seems to be truly enjoying the ride. No ego, no ego in him whatsoever. The man is the most devoid of ego of any person I've ever met in show business, and that's saying a lot because I met a lot of people. But the guy's got no ego, and he's just really, really enjoying the ride without being on purpose. Not being on purpose. What do I mean by that? Well, more he is actually being on purpose, not being on outcome, not caring about, or not really focused on being a star, or whatever that means. Breaking through, becoming the next big thing. Generally enjoying the ride. He loves going to these cities. He loves seeing the new cultures everywhere he goes, and he reflects on that, reflecting on the journey. Great stuff. Anyway, that's Sam. If you haven't seen him and he's in your area, go see him. He's going over to the UK with Tim Dillon as an opener now. Not to bash Tim Dillon at all. Tim Dillon is very good, but you're getting two openers, two two headliners for the price of one. I'm a little. It's Monday, and if you live under a rock, you probably don't realize that we've lost an hour somewhere. They stole an hour. I don't know where they put it, but Monday is the day you start to feel it. Yesterday, a lot of people didn't feel. Yesterday I was loopy yesterday. But that's just me, not you, because I don't work. See, you work. I know you do. I know you work. I don't work, so end up extremely late Saturday night. So you know what it is. I gave up 2 gigs this weekend to go see Sam twice. That's how good he was. Uh, when you are a person like me, you feel like an outcast in a lot of ways when there is something the whole world is doing and you're not part of it. And sometimes for me, I actually enjoy that, but it feels very weird. Like everybody was watching the Oscars last night except for me. Now I have a feeling the guys in the back are probably going to tell me they didn't watch as well. I don't understand. Don't understand the attraction of this stuff. It's not like you're watching the movies. You know, you could be a movie fan, but you're not seeing Oppenheimer or Barbie, as the case may be. You're seeing people go up and fluff about being in the movie and getting an award, which actually means nothing. It probably means something to them. They put it on their shelf. Yeah, I'm gonna get an award. Blah, blah, blah. But for your life, what does it fucking mean? It's nothing. It's nothing, I tell you. And the speeches can just be like, you know, I'm going back to the days when I did watch it when I was a kid. Just bored the hell out of me, and it felt like they made a commercial for movies into also a political I don't know, pedestal for a lot of people to get on and express their political views. I understand there was some of that going on last night. Some people might have missed it because it was for foreign film awards, or at least the parts that I heard about. The parts that are newsworthy this morning were for a foreign film award. Well, you know, that's the time you go to take a piss, go get a beer, go step outside to smoke, whatever you do. When the foreign film award, nobody. I just don't get the attraction of it. So I'm on the outside looking in. Speaking of the outside looking in, here's a couple of guys who are on the outside looking in, but they were captains of the ship on Friday. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning. And it didn't even go down.
Good morning, MindDogTV.com, the only place to go to vote for your favorite Coffee with the Dog guest of 2023. Who was your favorite author, actor, comedian, snake oil salesman? It's up to you. Who wins the Mind Dog TV Award? Vote doggy style. MindDogTV.com.
That's good. I should do that. I wish you would have let me know you were going to do that. That's a good idea.
I didn't know until 7 minutes ago.
Well,
it's a good idea.
You threw snake oil salesman in there too, because we have some of those. That's great.
I think about 3 of them. When he said that, I started to think, well, I was only one, but no, there was 2 or 3. You know, I don't.
Flat Earth Dave.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if that's snake oil.
There are other categories. There are conspiracy theorists. Yeah, there's all kinds of there's all kinds of categories. If I listed every category that we have for the award, I'd be as long as the award show itself.
I got to take my anxiety medication already.
I thought I was your anxiety medication.
I thought we did a pretty decent job on Friday. The guest seemed to enjoy herself. So
she did say she really enjoyed the experience, and thank you guys for doing that. That was good.
Yeah. How was the experience? You were sitting wasn't he just to your left? Sam was sitting.
He was almost on my lap. He was almost on my lap. He was that close.
Right.
This studio is 3 times the size of Governor's studio. I can't believe it. How small it is. It's a tiny little closet. With glass sliding doors on it, which is very weird, but a little more medication here.
I see that. Well, I thought we were his medication. Apparently, we're not.
No, you're not at all.
You
are my anxiety.
I'll be there on Friday the 15th.
Right.
I will be doing Knockin' Dead with Tony. So
you're not going to be on the show Thursday morning, right? I can't see how, unless you do it from the airport.
I just don't know if I want to stick around the airport that long. Either,
I know.
My flight comes in at 6 a.m. and we don't go live until 3 or until 9. So that's 3 hours.
I'm not going live at 3 ever.
I got mixed up in my head. I meant to say
3 hours.
3 hours later, and I said 3.
Yeah.
And I was about to say 9 hours later, like a moron.
Willie's got a black market version of coffee with the dog going on at 3 o'clock.
But yeah, I can't imagine you getting where you're going and getting settled in 3 hours and ready to do this too.
Well, I can't even check into where I'm staying until 2.
Wow.
So, yeah. I get in at 6 a.m. and I can't.
I
was wondering.
You can get in early sometime.
What are you doing on Thursday? Because I'd like to hook up with you as soon as possible.
Thursday, I do have a couple of daytime gigs. I have a couple of corporate gig and a facility gig. Thursday. What is Thursday? The 14th. Yeah, we have 2 guests that day, and then right after that, I have to get to a facility, and then I have to get to a a corporate gig out east. So yeah, my Thursday's pretty much tied up. Friday, I was thinking could come to the studio, but we can't
Okay.
really do it from there. I can't really host from there. It's a
Well,
shit.
I'll be bringing my laptop. We can technically use the laptop.
For to laptop with the one camera, but they got all these GoPros hooked up on every seat, and it's just a whole different. And there will be those guys will be there. Oh no, they won't be there that early.
Right.
I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know, but I think we should probably just assume that you're not going to be able to do the show Thursday. It's
Right.
going to be very tough for you. I don't know. And
Right.
what was Thursday? Let me see Thursday again. I think we have a pretty good week. Thursday, Mikhail Staples and Aaron Bullitt. Aaron Bullitt. Now on Friday, we got Melvin McKinney. Melvin McKinney. Been on this program before. You remember Melvin?
I don't.
No. GD, you remember Melvin McKinney?
Was he a comedian?
He's a bass player by the name of he goes by Big Freezy. He used to be
right. I remember.
He used to be Melvin Hayes, but now he's Melvin McKinney. I don't like when comedians change their name 3 weeks after they've been on the show, or 3 months after they've been whatever. Come on, stick with a name. Pick a name and stick with it. Stop rebranding yourself.
Be like Willie. Have one
Right.
name and keep it.
Yeah, no, I can't. You know what? I can't even say anything to that because, like, bro, because so I went by William Conway at first, and then I shortened it to Will because it just kept happening because like comedians would get to know me personally, and when people know me personally, they start calling me Will, or you guys call me
that's
Willie, which
weird.
I don't really care.
I would think
but
that
they
once
call
they
me
get to know
Will
you personally, they call you
and so
asshole.
like when they would introduce me on stage, they would naturally introduce me as Will Conway and not by William Conway. So it just started happening, and then the one Will C thing was just because I wanted to put my music out differently because I wanted to separate it from my comedy. But then somebody was like, you're making it really hard to find all your material by having it in these different names. So it's,
Well,
here's
the deal, though. You now you're stuck with that forever. You're not allowed to change. At least I think there should be a 3-year, mandatory non-rebranding period for anybody.
Yeah, no, I kind of get that, but see, I really like the one Will see, especially because that's an obvious stage name. Like that's not my name. You know what I mean? Like
you mean your mother didn't name you the One? I can't believe that.
She sure should have though. She sure should have.
That's like the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll. His mother didn't name him Jelly.
She did say that I was the one that ruined her body. She did say that. So,
Sam has a lot of material about that because he's so big. About him coming out of his mother, it's like he wasn't as big as he is now, of course.
Are we sure? Are there pictures?
I don't know. No,
I remember one day I was buying groceries with my mom, and I was like 16, and the girl at the checkout happened to be one of my classmates, and she looks right at my mother, and she goes, "Oh, are you expecting?" And my mother looks at her and goes, "She's 2." Because she had my sister 2 years prior and still looked like she was pregnant.
Did you guys watch the Oscars last night?
I didn't even realize there was Oscars until this morning.
Yeah, I didn't realize the Oscars were happening until this morning, and I was like, "Oh,
good for you, man! Good for you." I just don't get the attraction. People get excited and because the show, I think the show starts at either 8 or 9 o'clock, whatever. But people were already tweeting about it at 5 p.m. my time and getting excited about it and making bets on it. And I don't get the attraction. If somebody can explain it to me,
I think I understand. And hear me out. Most people make bad choices. Okay, and some of them make bad choices that affect their lives, in a long term. But with the Oscars and all the other awards, you go see a movie and then you get feedback and it says, "Oh my God, I made a good choice. You see that? I made a good choice. It won an award. Oh my God." And maybe that's it. Of course, I'm just being a couch, a chair. What's that thing called? An armchair psychologist.
No,
And
backseat driver. No,
right,
backseat no, backseat
yeah.
quarterback. No, something.
So, but you can also, that is
Backseat
also a
quarterback.
category on the minddog.com TV awards. That's also a category. So pick your favorite backseat and analysis.
Right. But so now the people who make political stuff, and now first of all, Jimmy Kimmel was hosting, and that had to. I know that pissed off Donald Trump usually, bigly, but his supporters because somehow entertainers, people in the entertainment world, are just like unacceptable now to MAGA. If you don't agree with their politics, they want to get everybody canceled. And I've been seeing on Facebook for months and months how they keep starting this rumor that Jimmy Kimmel has been fired, let go from ABC and all that stuff. And of course it's not true, but they celebrate it like it is true. And they're saying he should go to jail. Fuck that. Like, go to jail for what? Go to jail for what? For being a host you don't like? I don't think that's a crime. I think you're allowed to change the channel.
Yeah, but
But
when they start making it a crime, that's when it gets dangerous. That's
yeah, really. So he's one of these people that they want, and that seeing him host the Academy Awards is like, oh fuck, he's not going away. He's not going away. He's still there, and they're pissed about that. The Taylor Swift stuff, all that stuff. They just, I don't know. They can't take having somebody who doesn't like your president or ex-president or candidate or whatever.
Are there right-wing conservative variety show, talk show hosts out there I'm just saying now, not on the,
I wouldn't know since I don't really have television. I don't have,
but you have the internet, so you seem to be like really down with the Reddit stuff.
Well, no, I know the three guys who have the old Carson spot. Three guys. It takes three guys to do Johnny Carson's job now. Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and Jimmy Kimmel. All of those guys tend to lean to the left. Fallon is the most centrist out of all those. Seth Meyers is far to the left, and and now Taylor, whatever her name is, she's after Colbert. Has she started yet?
Oh yeah, she's been up for about a month or so. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the shows. I haven't watched them. But
I don't know what her politics are at all. I
believe the way she kisses up to Colbert and the fact that she's somewhat liberal, but she was also a Christian comic when she started off.
Right.
But you can be a Christian comic.
So Colbert is very Christian too.
Yeah.
So that doesn't necessarily negate.
Right, that's what I was saying. You can
liberalism.
They're not the two. It's not mutually exclusive, especially since Christianity has been hijacked by the left and the right and the middle.
Who does ABC have after Kimmel, or what do they have after Kimmel? Do you know? Anybody know?
Commercial break.
Did they go to infomercials? Like,
I think they go straight to playing the flag and the Star Spangled Banner, and then they sign off.
Does anybody even do that anymore?
Channel 55 on UHF.
UHF. Oh my God.
Okay, for you kids under 20, back in the day, TV
under 40
stopped. Yeah,
under 40.
People under 40, TV actually used to stop around like 2 a.m. and they played the Star Spangled Banner or America the Beautiful, and they waved the flag, and then it went to.
Usually there's some jets flying and some eagles flying as well.
Yeah.
There's a Billy Joel song about sleeping with the television on. Which is out. Nobody would get the references in that song anymore.
I used to have some of my best hallucinations. I used to have some of my best hallucinations as a child, falling asleep to the television with that sound in the background. And I'd wake up and I'd tell my mom the most fantastic things that I'd seen, and my mother would go, "That didn't happen. That really didn't happen." It's a good idea. It's a good idea. If you could invent that, we'd be rich. But No, but doesn't exist. That doesn't.
Man, you had people talking encouraging things like that to you as a child. What a lucky bastard!
Yes.
What
But
a
the thing
lucky
is, lucky bastard. I had no money to invent any of the things I wanted to invent.
Yeah,
Lucky
but
bastard.
they
And then
at
you
least
see them.
encouraged the idea of it. I didn't even get it. Ideas were not encouraged. Independent
Did you fall asleep with the
thinking
TV on?
and stuff like that. No. You don't get to do that in this house. No, sir. We'll beat that out of you.
Kelly's got a thread here. I can't really follow it. Maybe she was talking about different things here. I'm so young. On Saturday, I'll be going back a year from that was on. I was talking about, I guess, turning the clock back. I didn't know it was on till I saw your post. I guess I am the Academy Award person. Me and Mom's thing was watching those award shows. It will never be the same. Well, sorry for you. Your loss there.
Right.
Another woman satisfied from coffee. Now I don't get that. What the hell was she referring to there?
The lady on Friday.
Oh, okay. I was coffee without the dog. If we're gonna be, you could check in at the airport. No.
Yeah. Willie.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you can't check in at the airport. You're staying in a hostel, right?
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, you can call and see if your room is
the
ready.
Bowery Hotel.
Yeah, Bowery
It's
Hotel.
like in Brooklyn, I think.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, well. When I was my first stop in LA was the Hotel Cameo. It was $26 a night for 2 beds for me and my buddy split. $26 a week. That was the rent on this place. $26 a week split by 2. So I was paying $13 a week for my room there.
Of course, this was back when rooms were in black and white. Now they're in color.
I mean, it was like the cheapest room I could find. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So good luck. You know what you're gonna have? You're gonna have the hardcore Hasidic Jews on one side of the street, and then the Rastas on the other side of the street. They definitely.
I mean, the location looks good as far as like stuff that it's next to. It's next to a lot of the MTA stuff as well. So like, I like that.
Oh man, you could get like a jerked chicken and put it on and walk across the street and put it on a bagel. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you got to listen to Mark Norman's bit about when he first came to New York. He was staying in a place in Brooklyn, like the place you're going to be staying, and he got some funny stuff on that. I'm not going to.
And I did ask Danica last night because so a couple of the things that I'm trying to get on for shows and stuff. So I'm not much for bringer shows. I don't like to do bringer shows ever, and it's almost impossible for me to do a bringer show in a town that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like how well can I really say that I could get 6 people to come out to a show? But there is a show that I'd like to be a part of on Sunday, but I gotta bring 6 people.
And that's really tough. Because everybody's going to be still burnt out from the parade, and
because it's technically St. Patrick's Day. You know what I mean? And so, but it would be an opportunity at more paid gigs, and maybe there's a residency that you could get as well. So I mean, it's a really good opportunity, but I don't know if I can find 6 people that will commit to coming.
I am shocked that there are still bringer shows other than Frank Magallo's around New York. I mean, I know Victoria, the one from the Barry Katz thing. She does a bringer show, but that's weekdays, 5 p.m. at the Broadway Comedy Club, and you have to pay. You have to pay her for the stage time, $5 for the stage time. It's fucking ridiculous. But other than that, I'm shocked that there are still other bringer shows around New York. I thought. That's
totally
the one area where I thought comedians said, "Draw a line in the sand. We're done with this shit." That's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if it was just any kind of regular open mic, I definitely wouldn't do a bringer show. The fact that it's an audition, and you do get a portion of the door or whatever,
right?
You know what I mean? So I mean, that's a little bit different. You'll also get paid for it. But so there's at least, I want to say probably 3 of the shows that I'm trying to get on here that may yield other shows down the road. So I'm really
Well, I could tell you that I can't help you out in the least with that because on Friday and Saturday, I offered to buy people tickets, people who live near governors, offered to buy them tickets to go to see Sam Talent, and nobody was going.
Man, and how was the turnout for him?
Very good. It wasn't sold out, but it was close. You know,
Right.
if the room holds, they lied to me. When I was there on Friday morning, I asked how many does this room hold, and they said 350. I was counting people there, and there's no way they could. He probably had about 175, and it was at like 80%, maybe 250 at tops, but I can't see 350 in that room. So I think they lie.
Maybe they have like seats that they can, maybe the seats get wider or narrower depending on how many people.
Or they
The more
may,
people you have,
like,
the narrower
if
the
there's
seats
tables
get,
in there and they
add
take
more
out
chairs.
tables and do the seating differently.
Possibly.
Yeah. Can
But
they
the room was pretty packed.
Can they retract the stage and add more people in the orchestra pit?
Yeah.
They have an orchestra pit, right?
Yeah, big orchestra pit.
Okay,
Huge.
yeah. Did you count that
Jeez.
space?
No. This is what I see. I did kind of want to talk about this because Sam is so good. Listen, I don't even know how to explain this. Nathan Lund, who travels with Sam and was on Governor's show the other day, he's his opener, and he's very good. He's very good. He's a polished professional, seasoned professional, journeyman comedian. And when he's on there, you know you're in the hands of a competent professional. But when Sam comes out, it's like the energy and the just the enthusiasm level rises exponentially. Like it's like magic happened. The minute Sam walks on stage, the entire room lights up. It's
Right.
I haven't
That's his
seen that.
personality.
Right. But I mean, even before he says hello on the mic, he's just going out there walking up to the mic because everything he does is like, because he's got this like overbearing, like huge guy. So the mic is down here and he's got a, hey, everybody. And like that kind of, and just doing that, the room goes crazy. It's like, man, they love this guy. They just love him. And so it's just an energy thing where you can it's palpable where the room energy just rises immensely when he comes in the room. And it's really, it's something that I don't think you can teach that at all, or you can even learn that. You either have that or you don't.
Right.
But so yeah, it was really good. But I don't think he can translate that really. Carl has seen him in a theater, and I would be interested in knowing this. That doesn't seem to be translatable to a theater because he's working with people like right here, right off the stage. Like he was giving a guy a gummy and testing him out. He was passing around vapes, reefer vapes and stuff to people and throwing it around like, oh, you're done with that? And then throwing it to another guy. I don't think he could do, the kind of stuff he does. Again, it's not set material. He does some set material, but he's reacting to the set in the room. He's talking about Long Island. You can't talk about Long Island when you're in Manchester, UK. It's a whole.
Sure you can.
Yeah, no, you can't. They don't know. They don't even know where it is.
Like you could, but it doesn't hit nearly the same.
They wouldn't have any clue about the jokes he was making. Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry. Then he sucks as a comedian. If he can't go to another country and make them understand about a town they've never been to or seen, then he sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You should be sorry. You should be sorry for not knowing what the hell you're talking about. But
who said I knew what I was talking about? Willie, have you ever said I knew what I was talking about?
No,
and I know Matt never said it.
And I want to say less and less all the time.
For
Evil Ian, have you ever once said that I knew what I'm talking about?
Okay. For reference, one of Carl's friends from Manchester, Elizabeth, I can't remember her last name. She's in New York right now, and she was noting that she hasn't heard anybody say y'all.
I say y'all all the time.
Yeah, but not in New York. This is what I'm saying. My point is, she thinks all Americans say y'all. And so God forbid you haven't been to Long Island or New York. You think we're like hillbillies in southern people.
We have y'all, we have Utes, we have you-alls.
Y'all is not a New York thing. It's yo motherfucker replaces y'all up here. It means pretty much the same thing. Yo motherfuckers.
Yo
motherfuckers, not y'all.
Yeah, we have like 900 different versions of that greeting.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so he makes comedy on the fly. It's freshly made, homemade comedy in the moment, and you
And
don't see a
speaking
lot
of
of people
comedy on
doing
the
that.
fly, Jeffrey Weissman will be joining us in this second hour.
He's not a stand-up guy,
I thought
You
he
comedy
know,
on the
played some
fly.
kind of fly. Didn't he? I thought
something
he
you
McFly.
didn't
played
He's
the
on the
mention.
fly.
McFly. Comedy on the McFly.
Oh, I see.
Something
I
you
thought he played the fly in one of the Rosen Goldenberg movies.
Kelly's saying Billy Wayne Davis did completely different material in Kansas City both times in September in the show we saw in February. Yeah, but did he do completely different material 2 nights in a row, Friday and Saturday?
No, I
That's
did that.
that's kind of what I saw Sam do. Anyway,
I was gonna say one thing you didn't mention about with Sam on Knock 'Em Dead is they talked about that somebody might be picking up the movie rights for Run the Light.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a great, and they're eyeing John
Somebody
C.
already
Riley.
bought the movie rights to
Oh, okay.
and but it got stalled because of the writer's strike. I think the screenplay is done, but the
Oh,
writer's strike and actor strike stalled it. I don't know where it is now, but now somebody else is expressing interest in it. It's like, well, if you guys aren't going to do it, can we buy the rights back and give it to this?
Man, that's a
But
good problem to have.
the Omen, right before Sam got was ready to go live, or the show was about to start, on the big screen at Governor's came John C. Riley, and I was like, wow, that's a fucking cool little Omen there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I agree with you guys. I think he'd be such a good choice for that character.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna get a part in that movie. I'm gonna get the Sam doesn't know
I'm
yet.
sure. I'm
I
sure.
want to.
You should.
I want to be the
Be
guy
one
with
of
the duck. The duck with the
the guy with
plapo.
the duck.
You know the plapo. TD doesn't understand
I have no
the
idea what you're
reference.
talking about. No,
Plapo.
no.
I thought you'd be one of the club managers along the way, but yeah, no, I get that.
Plapo is a bingo game with a live duck where the duck is let loose on the stage and he's
Wasn't
shit.
that in Tucumcari? That was the Tucumcari
Yeah,
comedy story.
right, yes, yeah. And he's shitting on wherever the duck shits is the winning number as the duck walks around because ducks shit a lot,
Yeah.
you know. And they call it Plapo. It's a real thing, by the way, out west in some places. Now it's difficult to find a duck. Segueing back to the Oscars, though, I wanted to talk about this because um, the guy who won the award for best foreign film made a political statement, and I don't get. You know, I'm going to get in trouble for this, and I don't care. He made a statement about denying his Jewishness because of the political climate and because he's for Palestine. Well, not yeah, I guess he's for Palestine. That's a way of putting it. Just
And
want to
he
read.
is Jewish?
Yeah, the three of them.
Wow.
We he says
Being for Palestine, does that mean? I mean, does he's just saying he said it? Believe that the Palestinians should have their own state,
right.
as opposed to yay, go Palestine, shoot up the Jews. Yay, go.
Well,
Right.
let me tell you what he said. He said, "Right now we stand here as men who refute our Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people." He goes on talking about, Hamas should have never attacked Israel on October 7th, but they did, and now the reprisal. They're calling it a genocide, Holocaust, all these words that they're throwing around. I have a big problem with that because we use those words as triggers to make people feel a certain anger
Yes. Right.
but it's not the Holocaust. Or it's not genocide. Every war, and let me back up a little. I think using the word genocide is an attempt to make war some kind of civil type of, like, there are actual rules to war, and we can have a war that is fought with politeness and within the rules and boundaries. If every war should be about annihilating the enemy or not, it's either we having a war and the objective is to kill everybody who's the enemy until they surrender, or we don't have war at all, which is probably not to have any war at all. But if you want to make it civilized and say, well, there are rules of war, and we're going to do this civilized, you're fucking saying let's just legalize murder. That's what is.
When my brother and I were in our teens, my brother was like he'd pick a fight with me, and I'd say, well, okay, well, let's go outside because I don't want to break up mom's furniture, because we fought, shit got broken. And so he was, all right, yeah, let's take it outside. I'm going to kick your ass. And as soon as we get outside, he goes, first of all, you can't use any martial arts. It's a fight. It's a fight. Don't tell me I can't use martial arts. You're like 40 pounds heavier than me. You got a 3-inch longer. His reach was 3 inches longer. So then I might as well just say, well, you can only punch like this then.
Yeah.
You know what? I remember when I was like 13 or 14, I got into a fight with this kid in the park, and the first thing he said to me was, hey, like we squared up, and he was like, hey, wait, no punching in the face. And I looked at him and I said, oh, okay. And the first thing I did, right on the fucking beak. Like square on the fucking beak. Like, fuck you. You think you're gonna fight me and have some fucking rule.
Yeah. But and so I get it. And this the idea of genocide is like you're supposed to not try to. I get it. You don't want to involve citizens who aren't in the military and all that stuff, and you don't want. But again, war. Let's not try to make war something that we can accept on any terms. Either do away with war, or you accept the fact that if we're in war, it's war to the death. It's a fight to the finish, and until you surrender. That's it. And that, but I think who was it? Patton, who said, maybe it wasn't Patton. It was some one of these generals who just said,
"War is hell."
War is hell, and it's a good thing because we might.
Children.
Yeah, no, because we might learn to. We might.
Benatar said that.
We might learn to enjoy it too much if it weren't hell and weren't bloody.
I think we already do. I think we already do.
General Pat Benatar said hell is for children. So it goes full circle.
That has nothing to do with this conversation.
It does. You said war is hell. And
all right, this is enough of him. Jesus Christ, he just is just. No wonder nobody likes him.
Oh my God, dude. Oh
anyway, we'll let him back in the room, but we're going to mute his mic.
You know, we need to get like a penalty box.
Yeah, we do.
Get like a
3 minutes in the
penalty box that like puts them off into a thing and then has them muted, but like they can see it. Oh, and like the little bars over top of it. Can you make those bars like just go over that one section?
Yeah, I can.
That'd be great.
So you said, yeah, we already are enjoying it, and I agree. But the reason we enjoy it is because we put these fucking war crimes and nonsense on. Like, war isn't enough of a crime. We have to have. Well, you played outside the lines. You bombed the wrong people. You bombed the school. You bombed the hospital.
Well,
That's
and
fucking
you never
war.
hold those people accountable to cross those lines anyway. Hardly ever. So I mean, what are those lines even fucking there for? Nobody's fucking paying attention. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
But I pray for the day that you're talking about. I would love to see a day where leaders of nations call for war and nobody fucking shows up.
You're a damn globalist. That's what you are. You're a damn globalist.
Well, whatever. Like but I don't see the point of it. You know what I mean?
I know. Like, I know exactly what you are. I'm on the same side. I'm a damn globalist too. I was just saying you're a damn globalist. Ian is doing mixing up Pat Benatar songs. War is a battlefield.
War is a battlefield.
Love is a battlefield. War, hell is for children. What?
Oh, so I want to make it clear. I'm going to be doing musical open mics and comedy open mics while I'm in New York. I'm going to be doing both things. I do want to try and get with you so that because we talked about doing a microphone thing. Because for St. Patrick's Day, I'd like to do some on the street stuff and have some content for us.
Let me see. I think Saturday might be a good day for that. I have a gig late Friday night, but Saturday looks pretty open. I do have some work to do for some clients on Saturday, but I could get to the city. I could take a train into the city and meet you somewhere, or Yeah, Brooklyn just sucks. But we'll figure it out.
Well,
Saturday.
I mean,
looks
I
like
can meet you outside of Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like, I can also because I'm gonna. My wife and I are getting. I'm gonna get a 1 week MTA pass so that I can ride whatever I need to.
All right. Yeah, but there is no on Long Island. There's no MTA. There's nothing here. There, uh, there are buses, but the buses only go like on 3 streets. And they're
Yeah,
not
no,
like
I know. In order
and only
to
in
get
one
to,
direction.
in order, I gotta leave like 2 hours early, over 2 hours early, in order to get to the studio in Levittown
I know.
in time. I
And
already like that's one of the things I'm doing. It's like the things I want to do. Like I'm seeing how far apart they are from each other. Like I'm using Google Maps to see like how long it's going to take me to get from this place to this place when I'm done doing this, that, or the other thing. Like so I'm
this,
getting
that,
really
or
excited.
the other thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought there
Yeah.
was only this and that. I didn't know there was another thing.
Oh no,
yeah,
there's the other
yeah.
thing. Listen. Don't count out the other thing. The other thing is where the magic happens.
All right. Before now, I haven't run a commercial. I'm going to wait till Jeffrey's in the green room. It's very early for him, and as I mentioned, the Monday after this clocks go forward is the day that people really feel it. You know, if they're a normal person, not like me. So he's going to be a little groggy. It's what is it? 7:50. It will be 7:15 a.m. where he is. So, and with the hour difference, it's going to feel like 6:15 for him. So I expect him to be a little groggy. But before he comes in, I wanted to kind of, since the Oscars was last night, I looked up a list, another broken list, and there's not going to be a prize here because it's too long of a list. 100 top films of all time. I'm just going to go through them. If you guys want to comment on them. Reservoir Dogs. Any comment on you know that one?
Tarantino's
That was a
first
film.
film.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, actually,
Shane Gillis is going to star in Quentin Tarantino's last film. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
oh, great.
They're saying that he's going to actually come out and say the N-word. You can't be in a Quentin Tarantino film and not say the N-word.
Without saying the N-word?
Yeah.
As long as she's done on Govs before 11 o'clock.
Right. Number 99 is Groundhog Day. Yes, belong on the list.
Really?
Yeah, you don't think it belongs on the list?
It depends on what you mean by great.
I think it belongs higher.
transformational. It
can't
actually
believe it's all the way down to 99.
It changed the way people use the word Groundhog Day. So
it did.
And it made people think about the different ways that you could kill yourself.
Yeah, right. I forgot about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think of it as a suicide film.
It's a great suicide film.
Absolutely. Now that you mention it, I do think of it, but I never thought of it before. 98 is Paddington 2.
Okay.
What the fuck?
It's like a stuffed bear movie. I don't know.
I never watched it. I didn't watch any of the Paddington movies.
97, Amelie, where it looks like Catherine Zeta-Jones. No, it's just some woman who looks like her. I don't even know that movie, and it's 97.
I'm going to tell you something right now. You definitely have a broken list because we should not be able to have like 3 movies that I've never heard of before in the top 100.
No, there were only 2, so we're on 2 so far. So you got 1 more to go. We'll see if we get there. But the next one is your favorite movie of all time. Well, number 96, Brokeback Mountain.
True.
You can't quit that movie. You can't quit that movie.
Why can't I just quit you?
95 is Donnie Darko.
Ooh, all right.
By the way, I've never seen Brokeback Mountain, but I know I know a lot of lines from it. Yeah,
that's a blaxploitation movie, Donnie Darko.
I watched it one time under protest, and my wife paid for it dearly.
Yeah. Number 94, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Now that's one I never heard of. Absolutely never heard of.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. It's like a teenage movie.
Number 93, Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Looks like a lesbian movie. I should have watched that.
Sharknado or any of the Sharknado movies in here.
I've had Robbie Rist on.
Is it starring Liza Minnelli? Because that sounds like a Liza Minnelli flick all day.
Yeah.
Sharknado?
No.
No, Portrait of a Woman on Fire.
It looks like a foreign film or something because yeah, lesbian romance. I can tell that just from the picture. No, it's got to be no Claire Mathans. I don't know. It's got to be a foreign film. Number 92 is Leon. I don't know that one.
Leon the
That's
Professional?
the theatrical
No, I
version
bet you
of
that's Leon the Professional.
Could be. Number 91 is Logan with Pierce. No, it's Hugh Jackman. That's not Pierce.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a Marvel.
That's like the beginning story of Wolverine.
Yeah, 20 years after they shot the first one, they shoot the origin story when he's 20 years older.
Number 90 is The Terminator. I'll be back.
Okay.
Is that I'll be back? No.
I can't believe that's not higher. You're telling me that's 90?
Well, there's a lot of great films over the years. We'll see. Number
82 better be higher than.
Number 89 is No Country for Old Men. Now that's a great movie. You have to admit.
I fucking love that movie. That's a fucking good movie.
Number 88 is The Titanic.
Which one?
Or really? Titanic. The Leo
Again, that should be way higher. There's
you
no
think
way that's true.
I haven't reviewed the rest of the list. We'll see if they keep getting better. Then I agree. That's a great.
I think they should be lower than Paddington 2.
I mean, it broke the box office at the time. You know what I mean? Like in 1907 or whatever when it came out, like it fucking broke every fucking record out there.
Right. 87 is The Exorcist. Linda Blair, the original Exorcist. That was a good movie. At the time, it was a good movie. You look at it now, it's fucking laughable. It's fucking silly.
Sure. So it was a good movie for the time. Then it became a cult classic. I'm sorry. It became a cult classic, and then it also set off a whole chain of, the entire industry of exorcism.
Yeah.
It did for the exorcism industry what My Dog Coffee is doing for coffee.
Oof.
Well, yeah.
Jesus. We're sorry. I apologize for that.
But no, I love movies that like are kind of like a trend center, like GD is saying. Like that was the movie that kind of sparked the horror movement to like really get in that motif or whatever, And now look at all the different paranormal horror movies we got going on, and Exorcist is really one of the staples of that.
A line from The Exorcist that you would quote like regularly? Do you know a good line?
Do you know what your cunting daughter did? Before as soon as you say the line that's the first line I think of. Do you know what your cunting daughter did?
Huh. Wow. That's not what the line from The Exorcist that comes to my mind. Your mother sucks cocks in hell.
Yeah. Now, if I could go back to Ian's point, I don't think a movie about a voyage should not be longer than the voyage itself. Okay, the Titanic movie was felt longer than the actual voyage of the Titanic.
Ian likes the puking scene, the pea soup scene. Yeah, from the Titanic, where they were all puking. Number 86, Black Panther. Didn't see it.
What? Which one? The biopic or the real one?
2018 Black Panther with Chadwick Boseman.
Okay, the historical version.
The Marvel movie.
85, Shaun of the Dead. Didn't see it.
Huh.
But it was influential, and again, it started off. Well, I don't know if it started off. Because come to think of it, it was like a ripoff of like the other parody horror movies, but it did start another. You know what I'm saying? It was like the Maude. It was like what Maude did for Norm Lear. You know what I'm saying? Norm Lear had all these offshoots, and then
first of all, you don't know him well enough to call him Norm. It's Norman Lear. You just don't. You don't get that informality. I know him. I knew him very well. We were best friends.
I knew him really well. He didn't like me at all.
Right. So you can't call him Norm. Right.
I knew him so well. He didn't like me.
84 is a movie that got high praise. I saw it and I thought, well, this ain't so fucking good. I don't get them.
84?
Yeah, it's Lost in Translation. Bill Murray,
Oh,
Sophia
I
Coppola
I
directed
didn't
it.
see
I
it.
mean, I guess I've only watched. I maybe watched it twice. I remember, you know what? It was one of those movies that I thought was really good the first time I watched it, and then the second time I watched it, I was like, why did I think this movie was so good the first time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, first time I watched it, I said, "Why are all the critics saying this is such a great movie?" I think it won an Oscar too, best film.
I
wish
didn't
it
get
did.
past the first 10 minutes. I don't think so. I've never seen the whole movie. That's for certain.
Number 83 is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh man, that's my favorite
Ragnarok.
fucking Thor movie.
Now
That's my
this
favorite
is
Thor movie.
Didn't
this
see it.
is this movie made me think of a song thing, a song grouping, and that is frequently used songs in movies. Because the song from Led Zeppelin, you know, ice and snow.
Oh yeah, Immigrant Song.
That's been used in like 19 movies, and it's like most that and the other song. You see the marriage fourth, the marriage fifth, hallelujah. That song. The songs that just they keep using over and over again in movies.
All right. Number 82 is The Usual Suspects. Gabriel Byrne. I thought that was okay. It wasn't.
Yeah.
81, Psycho.
The original. You mean
The
original?
why? Has that been remade? Psycho has been remade?
Oh yeah, they remade Psycho.
Yeah, they redid it a few years
Who was
ago.
in it? Who?
Some actors from like
some actors.
Hollywood.
There's a TV series now too, Bates Motel.
Well, it looks like we're gonna have to cut this short and go to commercial. 80 is L.A. Confidential. That was Russell Crowe's first big thing, right? Or I think might have been
that Michael Douglas. I thought that was Michael Douglas.
No, L.A. Confidential.
I don't see Michael Douglas listed in the cast on. I don't remember him being.
I thought L.A. Confidential was with the guy from Memento and Kevin Spacey, right? Kevin Spacey and Danny.
Wow, that means
Danny DeVito. Is that the short guy?
Kevin Spacey was in it, but he's
not
in
Usual Suspects. Also,
they don't even mention him in the little synopsis.
And also the guy from Babe, you know, That'll Do Pig. That guy.
Yeah, that guy. He was great. Is he still alive? I hate saying it. Is he still alive? Because he was old then. And that was a long time ago. So I naturally think people pass away. We'll continue the list after the next segment. We're up to 79. Just as a reminder of where we are in this.
Ian, that's your job. Remind us we're at 79. Thank you, Ian.
I'll play a quick commercial before we bring Jeffrey in. It looks like he doesn't have the camera set up, or he's just like waiting for his big introduction to come on. But we have to play a commercial. TrueFire has got a deal right now, $140 for the year for full access, which is about half price. Not exactly half price, but like 40% off. 60%. Anyway, TrueFire, best way to learn to play any instrument, but really focusing on guitar online. TrueFire, check it out.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire's style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial today.
Yeah, your all-access file is now just $140 for the year. You can't beat that. You can't beat it with a stick, although we can try. Jeffrey Weissman has been on the program before. He actually was on the afternoon program, which is probably more friendly time for him. He is probably best known for his role in Pale Rider. He's been acting in film, I think, since high school or just out of high school. But a lot of people know him as George McFly from the second and third editions of Back to the Future. He's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome in the aforementioned Jeffrey Weissman. How are you, Jeffrey? Good morning. Thanks for getting up so very early.
Oh man, yeah, it's a little painful because of daylight savings at 6 a.m. for me.
Yeah, the Monday after the daylight saving time is worse than the Sunday. The first day you don't really get it. Or maybe because you have the day off. Most people have the day off, but the Monday.
I've got this thing where, if I go to bed before 11, I'm awake usually at 3, and then I'll go back to bed after a couple hours.
Yeah.
So now I'm caught in the middle there.
Yeah.
Do you have pets? Do you have pets?
Oh, by the way,
have to adjust also.
That's G.D. Fenderson, and the one we'll see that you're on the program here this morning. They are constant.
Yeah, I'm the black one.
G.D., what was your question?
Pets?
Do I have pets?
Yeah, because they have to adjust also, because they have their schedule, and then we have just changed their whole lives, and they're like, no, I want to be fed at my time. What's with your clock?
Yeah,
I think that applies more to dogs than cats, because my cats, they'll just basically be quiet until it's ready. And they could be hungry or stuff, but they don't bother us. Dogs will come up and lick your face and say, "Yeah, it's a good point."
Yeah, but I usually, just lick my wife's face when I need to.
Yeah, so you know what? I don't want to rehash our previous conversation and all, but a lot of people don't know exactly the whole story. If there any way we can tell a quick version of how Crispin Glover got out of the role of George McFly, and you got that?
Yeah, it'll only take 2 hours. Okay.
Okay. Ready? Okay. Wait, let me get my pen. Go ahead.
No, I had met Crispin, worked with him on a film before he got the first Back to the Future film. And I thought he was a fascinating actor and got his number and tried to stay in touch. When Back to the Future came out, I already was a fan of Michael J. Fox and Chris Lloyd and loved Leah's performance and Tom. And when Crispin came on the screen, I was like, hey, I know that dude. And I called him up and congratulated him. 4 years later, well, 3.5 years later, because 35 years ago now we were shooting, I got a call to be his photo double. And I called him up and I said, Crispin, say a good word for me. I need the work. I want to get my medical. And he didn't call me back until after part 3 came out. And I slowly but surely went through all the steps to get the role. I auditioned. I did a screen test for the makeup, did body cast fittings for special effects. And I learned that Crispin wasn't available. I was told that he had other commitments and wasn't available to do that, which I couldn't believe. I was like, he rocked George McFly. How could he not be doing this? So it was my makeup guy actually who said, Crispin's out. You're going to be playing George. I was like, huh? Ken, how is that possible? And sure enough, I was thrown in kind of at the 11th hour. And as things progressed, I learned that he made demands that they weren't willing to give him. You know, during the shoot, Spielberg came up to me and said, "So, Crispin, I see you got your $1 million after all." You know, I was like, "What?" So it was a sticky wicket, because after part 3 came out, he called me and said, "You know, it wasn't fair what they did." And I said, "What they do?" And I did not know that he did not give his permission for use of his life mask in the makeups I wore.
Wow.
Okay.
So it was really icky. I was stuck in the middle on this whole thing. So I shared my photographs and stories to help him with his case, which he, settled out of court for about $750,000. So he came close to getting his $1 million after all.
You know, that's a precursor to what we're expecting to be happening with all this AI stuff of using people's likenesses without their permission and all that stuff. That was kind of a toe in the water for what's to come.
Yeah, at the time, that camera that we were using, that VistaVision Tondro programmed dolly system, the whole thing that could splice the camera, or I'm sorry, splice the film inside the camera, was pretty revolutionary. They didn't even know it was going to work. I think the first time that camera had worked was on the previous Zemeckis film, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And now they added this computer-run dolly system, so one actor could play multiple roles instead of just acting with a cartoon. And they were pretty nervous that they weren't sure that all the things were going to work, and things like earthquakes happened while we were shooting that made Zemeckis think we were going to have to start from square one with some of our scenes. But it is, in fact, kind of the precursor to all this AI stuff, and it's weird to be have all this mishigas brought up again. Because it was as I said, it was a sticky wicket for me, because I had already been friends with Crispin and I didn't want to rub the studio the wrong way, but it all blew up and was a mess for me.
Yeah. Well,
it's interesting that you talk about that, because the dinner room scene, especially, like Michael J. Fox plays multiple characters in that. And you actually come into that scene upside down in some kind of lumbar adjustment thing.
There's a
How
picture
long
on
were
his
you
website of
upside
that.
down for that?
Well, that's scene in particular in the kitchen during dinner, because first of all, we only had Mike on weekends and at night, because during the day he was shooting the last season of Family Ties.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Mike, when do you sleep?" And he said, "In between the studios and the limousine." But if we'd shoot him as, say, Marty Sr., and then he'd go change into Marlene, my granddaughter, or Marty Jr., and each one of those changes took about 3 hours. So those shooting that scene in particular was extremely long. I remember that week. I think that scene took us 26 hours one day.
Wow.
21 hours another day, 19 hours another day, and that was all in the same week. Hang on a second. I just want to clarify for people that there's not actually 26 hours in a day.
Yeah, everybody had the same thought at the same time. Well, this one day it was leap day.
Yeah, it was leap day.
It was wild.
February 29th.
I to be on set and ready to work by, say, 9 a.m, I'd have to be in the makeup chair by 4 a.m, because it took about 4 hours to apply the makeup, and then another hour to take it off at the end of the day. And then we'd shoot as long as we had Michael available or whatever coverage we needed to do. And as I said, we only had him for certain windows. And so we wanted to get all the work as possible in during that time. And we did literally turnarounds of less than 8 hours. So often that would, because of union rules, that would give us a nice bump in our paychecks.
Sure.
Yeah, we were all very tired. I want to share some photos with you guys if you want to see some.
Yeah, I saw you have a way to share you know how to share screens, right? And you can do that. You can.
Yeah, I'm not great at it.
Yeah,
I'll
StreamYard is
try.
not.
The thing is, I have to minus things out and bring things up and find the share button. So bear with me while I try
Yeah,
to.
while you're doing
Yeah.
that, we can.
Well, I
can
could
explain to
lavish
the
you with
audience
a
what a sticky
compliment
wicket
while
is.
you figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
While he's doing that,
All
Phil,
right.
if you don't mind,
got it.
explain to the audience what a sticky wicket is.
A sticky
Wow.
wicket. It's a wicket that's sticky. Come on.
Oh,
It's
this is you
from
getting into the
cricket.
contraption.
So
Yep.
this is how I would take my breaks. I didn't like getting me down all the time.
Right, the head.
So
they would
my
do, yeah,
buddy
okay.
from ILM here, he built this board on a ladder and would say, do a sit-up as soon as the take was over. I'd do a sit-up, they'd slide this underneath me, and that's how I'd lie back and take a break instead of having to get me down in between takes, which took a lot of time. Sometimes everyone would leave set for coffee, and I'd be there suspended all by myself, twiddling my thumbs.
How long would you
Oh my
actually have to
goodness.
be upside completely vertical for, like, for the shoot? Like, were you upside down for 30 minutes at a time or longer?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, that seems like it would give you like a massive
Yeah,
head rush
yeah,
or
that's
not be good for you. Like it's trying.
right. Yeah, it's not good for your blood to be down in your head like that.
Yeah, it was a pain in the back.
Wow.
No, I want to try to set straight some urban legend. A lot of people say, "Oh, George was hung upside down because he's a different actor," but that's not actually the genesis. I believe because Crispin often would undershoot or overshoot his marks for camera for focus. Zemeckis and Bob Gale decided, well, we'll have him under control if we put him in this device that ortholev of the future, and we can make sure he hits his marks every time. So
I get that because he is kind of a pacer.
Yeah, well, he's into his character. He's
right. Yeah, but he
he
moves around a lot with his
character.
Yeah, and but of course they didn't know if they had him or not. And in my version of the script, which was up to the latest versions of various scenes that George is in, I think in that kitchen scene and living room, I think there are 5 or 6 different versions. And one of the versions, Marty is hanging upside down in the ortholev because he threw his back out playing squash or something. It's pretty fascinating to read Paradox. That was part 2 and part 3 in the same script.
Right.
So, it was an amazing, exciting place for me to be. But at the same time, it was also really uncomfortable at times because I had to play young George with the makeup of 17-year-old Crispin Glover's face, and with Tom Wilson recreate Biff and George's fight outside the Enchantment Under the Sea dance and kiss Lorraine again.
Right.
And the cast would see me in that makeup and go, "Wow, what is this?" And I myself didn't know. When I'd get these responses, what the hell I was in for.
It's got to be a mind game like that because it can mess with your own sense of identity. Like you're already acting, so you're playing somebody else, but now you're playing somebody else who's playing somebody else.
Yeah, you kind of nailed it there.
Yeah.
So here's that shot. I don't know if it's big on your screen here.
Yeah, there it is.
But we had, recreated the Enchantment Under the Sea, and I got to kiss Leah or Lorraine as George.
But she didn't age at all in the 3.5 years that, or they just are that good with makeup that she just looked like the exact same person 3.5 years later.
She probably didn't look that different.
She hasn't aged in 39 years.
Yeah,
she looks the same.
Really.
Wow.
She's one of the lucky ones.
She has a portrait up in the attic.
By chance, were you approached to play the same role in the Broadway version of?
Oh no. I think because my photos and testimony and such deposition, I was deposed in Crispin's suit for twice. I think 17 hours total. I don't think they would include me in that. Although I did go to London for a film and Comic-Con, and while there, went with Christopher Lloyd and Harry Waters Jr. and Don Full, Claudia Wells. We all went to see the musical in London, which was fantastic. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I took my hair long enough to play Doc Brown on the road tour if need.
Yeah,
Buddy!
yeah, you could.
Yeah. I don't want to put you in a political corner here, but because I think if you're a young actor, and even if you feel like you're getting taken advantage of, you don't really want to damage your career. $750,000 is a nice lawsuit or settlement or whatever, but to take on somebody like Steven Spielberg, you're really putting yourself, you're jeopardizing your whole career if you're going to do something like it. It's a difficult place to be, even if you feel like you're being taken advantage of. You don't want to.
You've got a lot of different elements that were going on. Crispin his star was rising. His work in River's Edge and the Doors movie, various other flicks that he had been in. He was great. He was gaining momentum in his career. His dad has been in the industry forever, and he probably got coached to hold out. This is the highest grossing film of 1985. Certainly, they can afford $1 million. That film is the trilogy's probably earned well over $1 billion worldwide.
Right, easy.
So you would think that they would be okay with giving him as a principal that kind of money, at least in his mind. But they have kind of pointed out that the first film was George's story. The second film is Marty's story, and the third film is Doc's story. And George was relegated to more of a support role in that second film, and then the third film they were going to have him play Seamus. So he had been lessened in the role. So, and also he apparently caused a lot of trouble on the first film with headaches with making demands. A painting he and Leah made in rehearsal, he wanted as part of the set, to which Zemeckis said, "No, I can't step on my art director's toes," and that made him blow up. He had a lot of blow ups. Then Crispin told me stories about Bob Gale making him cry in front of extras, and it was really unfortunately a mess. And a lot of big egos involved and a lot of power. So right. I say if you're a young actor, you don't want to make waves. You want to get in, do your job, be brilliant, and get out. And,
right.
And then keep working. With the Academy Awards last night, one of the best things that I heard several times, I wish I had heard when I was hot item or up and coming, to be yourself, to use your essence more than anything in the character. I spent most of my time trying to please others, to give others what I thought they wanted. And
if you don't mind
and
asking,
I as an acting coach, I can't agree more to what these fine actors last night were saying. To be yourself, to be strong in yourself and confident and relaxed and professional. I'm sorry I stepped on your.
Oh, no, I apologize for stepping on you, which
that's what we always do
for me. But what is, if you don't mind answering, what is your favorite pre-SAG performance? You think before
in my career?
Yeah, your favorite pre-SAG performance. Before you got your SAG card, the thing you're most proud of.
Oh boy, I did a lot of. My parents didn't want me to go into acting. And so I, as a kid and a teenager, had to do most of my work in school or community theater. And I love performing on stage in many shows. I remember I was 14 and I heard Mel Brooks was shooting this film, his next film, in my neighborhood. And I walked home instead of taking the bus and started seeing people in Victorian evening wear. And I said, it must be around here somewhere. And there was a gentleman whose mustache was flapping, who's coming out. Sir, your mustache. Oh, is it? Who are you? And I said, I'm an actor. Oh, yes. What have you done? And I said, I was in A Merchant of Venice and As You Like It and Dark of the Moon. And, I started listing all these shows that I'd done at school. And he said, really? You want to meet Mel? And I said, yes. And he took me by the hand, and we went to this music hall where they were shooting the Puttin' on the Ritz number for Young Frankenstein.
Oh,
And
wow.
and Roy said, hey Mel, you want to meet this kid? And Mel said, I got no time for kids. And he went on his way. But I got to hang out on the set, and I got to see Peter Boyle's incredible makeup. I met Marty Feldman and saw him in his street clothes, and he wore a man bag, which I carry a man bag now. And just less than, maybe about 10 years ago, I got to play Igor in the stage musical of Young Frankenstein.
Wow.
In which I had to tap dance and sing and be in 12 numbers and do my tribute to Marty Feldman. And that was incredibly rewarding. I not too long ago did a fundraiser production for the homeless and other charities of Robin Williams' favorite charities, and played Robin's role in The Fisher King on stage.
Wow.
And that inhabiting that character was insanely challenging, but incredibly fun. And and to see the audience's reaction afterwards, because when I, was doing it right, it was, it was taking people to wonderful places, and on top of it, raising money for the homeless. And so I guess my favorite roles before going SAG, I could have gone SAG in 1977, I think it was.
Right out of high school, right?
Yeah, I got out of high school. My parents are going to tell me I can't be an actor, and I went and got on a few studios lots, and FM, I Want to Hold Your Hand. I was a Ringo fan in that, and The Rose with Bette Midler. But I started doing some dance bits in a film called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band with Peter Frampton.
The Bee Gees. Yeah. Wow.
And that was kind of cool, being brainwashed by Alice Cooper and doing these dance moves. And I remember it was about 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock. I'd just gotten out of makeup and costume and wardrobe, and I smelled pot on the set. I'm just out of high school.
For the first time, right?
I know the smell. And so I said, where's that coming from? And I followed my nose to Barry Gibb. And I said, you're smoking pot at 7:30 in the morning? He goes, sure, you want some? And it's like, sure. There's tobacco in that. You've got tobacco in that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, English.
That's how we like it.
Or Australian, whatever. English, Australian, same thing. But he was English who went to Australia, born in England, moved to Australia. So maybe that's where
he was a very nice guy. Robin came over and said, look, a record is just made #1 on Billboard. So I was the first to congratulate them. I was proud of that.
Wow. I thought awesome. you got a movie role right out of high school. I could be wrong about this.
I do want to say,
hold on, Will. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a question here about Nightmare at 30,000 Feet. Did you get that right? Wasn't that right out of high school or close to it?
No, I had, after doing Sgt. Pepper's, all those other films, mostly background bit part work, I had to prove that I was taking myself seriously and get some good training. And I went to the American Conservatory Theater, ACT, in San Francisco, and the university. And while there, I fell into an opportunity to screen test for the lead in a film called The Genius, which later became War Games. And through that, got an agent and moved back to Los Angeles. And after being in LA for about 3 months, not getting War Games, I tested the same day with Ali Sheedy, with Eric Stoltz and Dana Carvey and a bunch of other guys, and none of us got it. And Martin Brest, who was the original director, who told my agent that I was his favorite, he got fired from the gig. But nonetheless, about 3 months later, I got to meet and audition for George Miller of Mad Max fame. And we got along great. And he cast me to be a part of the ensemble supporting John Lithgow on the Airplane, the remake of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
20,000. I thought it was 30,000.
Well, the original is 20. I think ours was 30,000. We got hired.
With inflation, yeah.
It's a bigger nightmare.
Will, do you have a question? I stepped on you.
Well, it's not necessarily a question. I do want to let him know that your role as Teddy Conway, please understand that as a poor Midwestern boy from a small town, you were one of the first characters that I saw in a movie with my last name, and in Pale Rider. So,
I
which
wanted
is
to talk about that. That had to be.
yeah.
I mean, how did you audition for Clint Eastwood? Did he cast you in that?
Sure did. Gosh, I've got a good story about that. You know,
Okay.
Clint
Yeah.
had met uh, Clint had met Sean Penn's brother, um, Chris Penn, at
Chris,
a
okay.
party, I think in Malibu or somewhere. And Chris said, "You know, I want to make a movie with you, and I want to do a western." And so Clint sent Chris the script for Pale Rider, and Chris threw it back at Clint and said, "No, I want to play a bad guy," because he offered him Eddie Conway. Offered him Eddie. I want to play bad guy. So Clint said, "Well, how about LaHood's son? You know, Richard Dysart's son, character's son, who attempts rape on Sidney Penny's character." And so Chuck LaFont, who was originally playing Teddy, moved into Eddie, and they had Teddy open him. I had a very aggressive agent who had found out from either Lauren Lloyd, one of the casting directors at Warner Brothers, what was available, and she got the description of the character and submitted me. And I went in, and I knew that I was gonna, from the audition sides, this bit of the script that I had to audition, that was being put on tape for Clint, who was already on location in Idaho, that I was going to have to cry on cue. And I've studied a lot of different techniques of acting, from sense memory, emotional recall, the method, to fantasy charging of Meisner, etc. And I had a lock of my grandmother's hair in my pocket. I had all these different techniques ready to go so I could cry in the scene over Daddy's dead body. And the producer, Fritz Mans, put me on tape, and I got the lines coming, and I didn't need really anything because it was written well enough, and I was in the moment enough that the tears started coming. And the next thing I knew, I was on a plane to Sun Valley, Ketchum, Idaho, to shoot for 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
With Clint on a western. I was like, yeah.
Now, what I've heard about Clint on that. Now, did he direct that? He Pale Rider.
He sure
Now,
did. Yeah.
what I've heard is that he's the most friendly towards actors. Like, he'll just say, instead of yelling action, he'll just go like this, and just like and actors will ask him like, "How do you want to play this?" He said, "You got cast the part because of who you are. You play it how you feel, like the loosest director possible." Is that your experience with him?
He is I would say an actor's director. I think he learned from Don Siegel, who directed Dirty Harry films, who learned from John Ford down the road, that actors often tense up when they hear action shouted at them. And Clint would often say, "Whenever you're ready," which is really lovely.
Yeah.
And he often would say, well, not say it, but he would shoot the rehearsals. And with doing that, he would not only save time if he got what he needed, but he would often get very relaxed performances. Often, people get self-conscious if they know that the camera's zoomed in on them. In the scene where Doug McGrath, Spider Conway, gets shot from head to toe, dance by Stockburn and his deputies. We had to spend 3 days shooting that one scene.
Wow.
And the first day, and if you go back and see the film, you'll see that there's definitely 3 different days in those cuts. The first day, you'll see Doug is there with his rock and his booze, and he's sometimes in sunshine, sometimes in clouds. And when it finally the shooting starts and it cuts to brother and I at the Blankenship's Mercantile, and we're screaming, we're in a blizzard. And then when we get to Daddy's dead body,
you know what? I did notice that one time watching it. It freaked me out. I was like, "What is going on with the weather here?"
God is not a friend to the continuity person on set.
Well, it's actually a testament to the editor, because he does it so incredibly well that they finesse it. Example, when Blankenship, when Richard Hamilton's character comes out to collect the boys who've been crying over Daddy's dead body, he's walking through oil-based fake snow, and the wind picks it up in chunks and it flies through. It's like, what the? So on the rehearsal, when we finally get to go to Daddy's dead body, we had talked about where Chuck was going to go, where I was going to go, and so on and so forth. And in the rehearsal, which I knew was going to be shot, Chuck went to where we had discussed where I was going to go. So I switched gears and went to where Chuck was supposed to go at Daddy's head, almost kicked poor Doug, who's playing dead, in the head, brushed his hair with my boot. and as soon as the scene was over, I heard Clint say, "Cut, let's move on," which means we're going to go to the next setup. And I immediately got into Clint's face. I said, "Clint, Chuck didn't hit his mark. I almost kicked Doug in the head, blah, blah, blah." And Clint took a moment and he thought to himself, he said, no, we're just going to cut from your face. It looked good, which meant I had the close up.
Wow.
So well, I couldn't argue with that.
Well, yeah, you know what? Being a young guy now, 1985, I'm thinking you're probably 25 or so, 26 maybe. But that, to get in Clint Eastwood's face, that must have taken some extra going at it. I don't know. Maybe you were just running up pure emotion in the moment, not thinking about.
It was just that, and I often put my foot in my mouth with Clint. He had fired our caterer after the first week we were there, and the new caterer came up, and I remember I brought my girlfriend up and was having lunch with Clint, just he and I on the top of a mountain in a blizzard, having steak and lobster from the new caterer. It was very surreal. I was like, nice weather, Clint. And he was like, I didn't expect it to be snowing in October. It was
in the mountains of Idaho.
I had a really wonderful. I've been very fortunate to be in these great ensemble casts. That one with all the Richards, Richard Dysart, Richard Hamilton, and John Russell, and Fran Ryan, and all the deputies. Just so many incredible talents that Clint assembled in that cast. Carrie Snodgrass and I, because we had mutual friends, got very close very quickly. And she was very feisty. I don't know if you know Carrie's work, but her first film, major role, she was nominated for an Academy Award for Diary of a Mad Housewife.
Wow.
And she wanted her character to be much more aggressive. She saw that, here's a woman who's been on her own, who had obviously an affair with a Native American who had a child with him, and now has this protector, Michael Moriarty's character of Hull Barrett, and she felt like she should fight stronger to keep him out of harm's way. So she wanted to hold the reins of the horses to keep him from going in town on that buckboard in the first scene that you see him doing that. She wanted all these different things, and Clint and Mike kept saying, "No, Carrie, no, back off." And she got pissed. She was close to quitting the film a few times. And I would just calm her down after work. I'd have another strawberry margarita, daiquiri, whatever, and just let her talk it out, and she'd hang in there. That happened a couple times, and then Michael Moriarty quit at one point after that same scene where
he quit a lot of things, didn't he?
he one of the other actors when they were doing that fight scene. Didn't stick to the choreography or was messing around during rehearsal or something, and he broke 3 fingers.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And he quit the film. It took Clint 2 or 3 days to get Mike back on the shoot. When he's coming back on the buckboard, Will, take a look at Michael Moriarty's hand. He's got a cast on his hand that he doesn't hide.
Wow. This is great stuff. I mean, going back to look at these stuff 20 years after you last saw it and say, "Oh, wow, I never noticed it." Had that, had that slip past me. But
Yeah.
that's the
I'm probably
magic.
watching it today.
It's like the grip in the Witch's Wood and the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
By chance, also by chance, are you a trinket collector? From the movies, and what's your favorite trinket that you've collected from the movies you've been in?
I'm not someone who had sticky fingers. I never, picked up props.
You had a sticky wicket earlier, twice.
That's a cricket term, English or Australian.
could have used a wicket.
The things I remember from those films are mainly the excitement of being on those sets and seeing the creative team both in front of the camera and behind the camera. On example, Twilight Zone movie, I just loved being near Alan Davio, the cinematographer, and George Miller, who for one of the first times on any film set, they had tapped the lens of the camera and had a video feed. And George was beside himself because he could see what the camera was seeing. And he was just like, "Oh boy,
Yeah.
I can see this." And Garrett Brown came with it was early Steadicam work when it was 65 pounds.
Right.
And he's running up and down this fuselage that's being rocked with lightning and all this stuff going on and people screaming. And he was just an amazing trooper. I'd love watching on the Back to the Future sequels, Dean Cundy, very calmly getting these incredibly difficult shots that Zemeckis had to troubleshoot, with these special effects, and that whole thing, with the Tondro. I mentioned the Tondro programmed dolly that controlled that VistaVision camera. I love watching technology advance, watching the crew, everyone doing their incredible work, thinking a few steps ahead of the director. That to me is really exciting, to see a well-oiled crew and an incredibly gifted, talented, well-cast ensemble. That I've been very fortunate to work on several projects that have had all those ingredients.
I'm going to put the next question I had for you on hold because I want to respond to what you just said. Having an eye for all that you just talked about, does that change the way you look at movies, and does it distract you from the story that you're looking at how the film was made sometimes?
Not so much on well-made films. I just saw Dune 2 and was just totally sucked into it, and it was so much fun. There are productions where something is uneven, where I'll say, that's a glaring error on the editor's part to not match the continuity, or the acting has nothing behind it or in it. When I can see as a professional those inconsistencies, that is a little distracting for me, and I'll step aside from that film, if I'm usually enjoying it, or I'll just take the parts that I enjoyed from it.
Right.
I don't want to ruin my night.
Yeah, no, I get it, but sometimes it's like a vocational hazard, or you just kind of it kind of ruins it. You know how the magic is made, and therefore the trick or the illusion is a little bit not so enjoyable. So
and if and I'm forgiving if it really feels like the story is wonderful, or the people are involved are enjoying themselves. I can forgive inconsistencies. Like I mentioned, the flaws, the little accidents that happened in Wizard of Oz, that I know where they are to look for them, doesn't mean I still don't enjoy that film to death.
Right. Yeah. I like looking for those. Those are fun to look for, because there's a lot of folklore and all that kind of stuff behind it. Like a guy might have killed himself on set or whatever, and got absolutely still in the shot somehow, or a shadow of it.
Yeah. I have a question. Actually, for all three of you men. I would never ask a lady this. Do you guys button your shirts up or down?
Why are you asking that now?
When should I ask it? If I ask it
Damn.
later, Jeffrey may not be here, and I
Right.
won't know.
Well, I will just say depends on how early I get up, and it depends on what shirt it is, and it depends on if I've had my coffee yet. A lot of things. Sometimes I start in the middle and work up and down. I'm
What's
I'm not a normal person. What can I tell you?
so you don't do it the same way every time?
Hell no. Hell
Yeah,
no.
no, I'm a top to bottom person every time for sure.
Well, it figures.
Top to bottom.
This is kind of a
Thank you.
vagueness. There's a lot of vagueness in this question, but it's kind of because the state of Hollywood. This is the essence of the question. The state of Hollywood. I didn't watch the Oscars, and I haven't in 40 years. I think the movies that are being made, big budget movies. I think sometimes Hollywood is. I feel like Hollywood has lost its way. There are very few like original stories coming out. Of my view of kind of this is an original idea, and then we have the independent films that are not being distributed or pushed. I feel like it's almost like the top 40 in radio and music gets pushed on people, and they don't see the quality that is being produced in the deep tracks by great artists out there. Your take on the state of Hollywood and movies today, as somebody who has watched it your whole life and been interested in film, is it as good as the golden age of movies right now? What we're going through? Uh-oh.
I think there's some really fine work out there. I don't think it's necessarily a golden age. When you say the golden age, there's these different ages of the.
For me, it's the 70s. That's because that's when I was a teenager. Those were the greatest movies that ever came out in my life. Starting with like The Godfather, French Connection, all those.
You had really incredible studio films in the 70s, and you had incredible independent films in the 70s, and the films that come out now, you have a lot more bottom line. We want to go with what's proven, and that's why the studios do a lot of remakes, I think, or sequels. The Marvel thing, which is being beaten to death. Those formulas work to make money, and the studios have this kind of gamble thing where they'll finance 15, 20 films, but they only need one blockbuster to pay for a good chunk of those. So it's a gamble thing, and I think in the late 70s, early 80s, the studio started being run by the bean counters and the lawyers and such, and the directors, producers that find storytellers. That's why they often that they like and trust. That's why they often keep working with them, because they're proven and they trust them. There's a trust thing that goes on, and I can't complain about some of the quality stuff that's out there, but there is a lot of stuff that is just not so great. That because there's so many channels now that need content. There's so many content creators that aren't necessarily trained or caring about the integrity of their work. But that, there's a niche for, I think, everyone. I don't know. I can't let people who make Drek off the hook.
Yeah. No, I get it. And you know what? I didn't watch it, but there's been a lot of negative stuff said about Barbie. Of course, and I feel like I'm negative against that, just prejudiced against that, movies that are just capitalizing on
something against the doll. There's something that happened during your childhood, maybe.
I think it gave little boys bad impressions about how easy it would be to tear a woman's head off.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on, the neighborhood kids decapitating the
GI
Barbies
My
and
GI
ketchup.
Joes needed wives, so I was
Yeah.
always respectful of Barbies.
What Greta did, what the director did with Barbie, I think was phenomenal.
Right.
She made a very feminist story with a lot of really nuanced comedy, music, and entertainment. It was really, really fun.
I'm too old. Mentally, I'm too old to allow myself to put aside my prejudices of a film like that and go see it. It's just that I become like a curmudgeon old man. I know that for a fact.
Get over it, Matt.
Anyway,
The seller for me was Will Ferrell. When I watched the trailer and I saw that Will Ferrell was in it, I was like, well, my boy's in it, so I got to check it out. You know?
right. It's time to say goodbye to Gov's Radio Network. Govs, we'll see you tomorrow,